going to take a look at suitcases. I haven't bought a suitcase for 30 years. The last one I bought was a Samsonite, and it's in as good a condition now as it was when I bought it. And the reason for changing, well, the reason it's in as good a condition as when I bought it is because it was made to last. But it's bulky, it's heavy, and it's not suitable for today's travel. The airlines have brought in restrictions on size and weight, so I need to find something that fits the criteria for today's modern traveller. Now, I never realised how difficult it was going to be to choose a suitcase. There's so many things to think about. Take the wheels for instance. Are you going to have 2 wheels, 4 wheels, single wheels, double wheels, spinners, retractable wheels? That's just the wheels. So it took a while to decide what to have, but I basically narrowed it down to 3 main points. Do I have a hard shell, a soft shell, a zip, or a clamp fitting as far as closing it goes? I'll show you what I mean with this one over here. So this is my wife's old suitcase. A relatively economical one, Trip. It did its job for 2 or 3 trips, and then it came to grief in some way or another. I don't know, baggage handler, fell off the plane, whatever. But this area has been bent, the moulding is twisted, and now it won't close. Because of that, I've decided that I'm going to go for a zip opening. So even if the casing gets damaged, then the zip will probably still work. The other thing I'll be looking for is one that, you won't be able to see it from there, but this has got a TSA lock, and that's the American transport system of security, so that they can, should they find anything they think is suspicious inside the case when it goes through the scanner, they have the keys to open this. This system is becoming more worldwide. Not every country has it. There's just a few at the moment who have the keys for to open these up. So it means that without having to break seals, break locks, the customs security, they can get into this case and lock it up again afterwards, and all your goods should be safe. So we're going to push that over there, because all it's going to do now is make its way to the scrap bin. Okay, today we're going to take a look at the American Tourister Soundbox, 67 centimetres. Sounds like some sort of musical speaker system, but no, it's a suitcase. And this is going to come with, I hope, with 4 wheels, spinner wheels, and a zip and a TSA locking system. I bought this, well, I say I bought it. This actually isn't the one that I've chosen. I've got another one coming. This is the one my wife's chosen. Now, a suitcase is a personal sort of thing. Everybody has their own personal preference. And with my wife, sometimes it's colour and what it looks like. Nothing to do with the practicalities of it, of course. So I'm going to have a look at the one that's just arrived for her, the Tourister Soundbox, as I said, and we'll see if it lives up to its expectations. Right, let's get up here. So the first thing I'm looking for is, has it arrived in good condition? Well, we don't really know till we open it, but first thing to look at is the packaging, and it's all looking good. It hasn't got any dents in it, there's no holes in it, so I'm happy that the packaging's fine. But on the off chance that the contents aren't up to scratch, I'm going to be careful when I open this packaging. And trust me, when I've got a knife in my hand, I'm not always as careful as I should be. I like to keep a first aid kit handy. Mine's just round the corner, round there, waiting for me to make the mistake. Okay, let's get into this. I've got all day. Well, I have to say this is quite a loud colour. Not my type at all. So I'm just going to put it on the floor, lift the case itself out. Out she comes. Lay her down there. We'll get rid of that box over there out of the way for the moment. And slide it out of its packaging very carefully, because I have to slide it back in a minute. Okay, we've got a label on there. Now I'm going to leave the label on until I'm sure everything's okay. Now this company we got it from is called Go Places. I like to get stuff from companies like John Lewis, who I know have a good customer service should I find a problem and need to return it. I did do some research on Go Places, and they have very good 5-star reviews on Trustpilot and on Google reviews, and they are a British company. I've checked that with Companies House. Yeah, I know, bit of an anorak for that sort of thing. So the first thing to do is just make sure everything's okay on the outside. Yeah, we've got double wheels as ordered, spinner wheels. Now, as I said, I've gone for something slightly different. The reason my wife's gone for this is because the wheel system, that is she has some medical issues and problems in her shoulders. So let's see if we can get the handle out here and I'll show you what I mean. How's this? So for my wife to drag something like this is quite uncomfortable. So this is the reason why we've gone for the 4 spinner wheels, so that she can push it along like that, which will make it a lot more comfortable for her. We'll pop that back in there. We now know that works, so that's one good thing. Pop that on there. It's got the TSA locking system. Now the next question is, how do I get into it? This is interesting. Shall we guess that the code is 3 zeros? 1, 0, that's a 0. Let's try that. Sometimes I think I'm a genius. 3 zeros, good guess. Obviously we're going to set up a code for it when I figure out how to do it. So the zips are running smoothly. We've got another zip here. I'm assuming that's the expanding bit of the case. We'll come to that in a minute. So I'm going to open it up, and what we've got here is some instructions on how to set the code. We'll check them out later. A big compartment with some straps to hopefully hold most of your stuff in place. We've got a compartment here. This will be good for some smaller bits and pieces. And then let's open this up here. And we've got another big compartment to do the half, again with the restraining strap. So all in all, it looks like quite a nice suitcase. Just have a little go at the expanding bit. Where's that zip gone for that? Let's close that up. So far, so good. Oops. Okay, so this is your expander. So one piece of advice I'd give you is, most airlines will let you take 20 kilos with you. That includes the weight of the case, which is why they've gone for these lightweight composite materials, unlike my old Samsonite, which probably weighs as much as 3 of these. So the expander, yeah, that's quite a good bit of expansion. So I would advise, if you're going on holiday, if you're the sort of person that likes to bring gifts back, or even personal items for yourself, think about the weight when you come back. There's no point making this 20 kilos and then finding it's 23 on your way back, and they won't let you put it on the plane without paying some extra money. So I'll be looking, well, I say I will, my wife will be looking to keep the weight down of this probably to about 18 kilos. Then we're well within the limits, and she can also bring a few trinkets back after we've been on holiday. One thing I will mention is the price. Registered retail price 165. We paid 125. I always think the registered retail price is just there so that when they say 125 they can make out that it's a special price and you're saving a lot of money. At least that's what my wife thinks. She never buys anything without coming in and saying it was in the sale. Yeah. Anyway, we were going to buy this from John Lewis, but they didn't have the colour she wanted. The John Lewis one was £2 cheaper, but it had a 10-day delivery. Not a problem because we don't want it for another month. But they did say on their website that this would come within a couple of days, and it did. So that's a good point. So it's looking good. Now all we've got to do is take it to the airport and test it. So that's what we're going to do next. I'll get the other one. Oh, right, here it is, back from its travels. Not just one travel, 8 travels, 8 flights, 2 transits, so quite a lot of use. Now the first thing that I'll point out is you may wonder why it's got a luggage strap around it. Well, that was me erring on the side of caution. I'm going to take that off first because it doesn't come with that, and I fed it through the handle so that it couldn't slide, so I'll pull that out of there. This last trip, which we just come back from, it was a 2-week trip, and my wife stuffed this till it came to the 20 kilos, which was good because there was no space to buy stuff while we were away and put it in without it going overweight. Excellent. It has stood up reasonably well, but the first thing I want to mention is at one point, I'll mention it as soon as I've undone it, it's still locked. Came back early hours of this morning, and I'm now desperately trying to remember what her code is. I know her code. She doesn't normally trust me with her dirty laundry, but in this case she's letting me in at it. I'll whip the baggage labels off from Heathrow. That Heathrow, not keen on that. Too big an airport. I think wherever possible I'm going to stick to Birmingham or somewhere like that. East Midlands, that's a diddy airport. Little bit of string on there. That was just my way of identifying it if another 6 of these came down the conveyor. Now, after we'd been in one of the hotels, because we did move around from one hotel to another on this trip, my wife did the zip up, and when we came to join it at this point here where the TSA locks are, well, ping them, there was a gap and the zip wasn't lined up. So I rang the zip back around and I saw that it had split open at the back here, and I thought, oh no, you know, that hasn't lasted very long. And I don't know if it's the way she started to pull the zip or whether there was too much stuff in and we pressed it down and then it sprung open and the zip came open, but we had a little gap like this. So I ran the zip back all the way round to the start point and then ran it back again and it was fine. But obviously I had this concern about, is the zip going to burst open? So what we did was released the compression zip, which is this one, or should we say expansion zip, which allowed the suitcase to expand quite a bit, and hoped that that would take the pressure off the main zip so it didn't ping open. Well, whether it would or not have done, I wasn't taking any chances. I went straight out that morning and bought the strap that you've seen. But I can say it's done 3 flights since then, and it's been manhandled obviously on and off each one, and the zips have stayed intact. Now the other thing that I find a bit frustrating is, naturally it says on the top here there's a logo, American Tourister, and so you tend to put it that way up, and then you come round to do your locks and the numbers are upside down, so you've got to do it like this to see your numbers. I don't know, maybe it's just me that's thick. Yeah, and I don't need any confirmation of that, and it's just, I wasn't happy with that, but it's a minor thing. Anyway, the handle, sturdy, didn't have a problem with that. There's the handle at the top, so most of picking it up and throwing it about, you've got to do it with these, so you just got to be careful how you pick it up, because as I said, my wife has packed it, so it's very heavy. The wheels. Now if you remember, I said that we got these so that my wife, who's got some problems in her shoulder, could push it around easier, and I have to say that the wheels have done well. I had visions of it coming with half the wheels knocked off it once they'd been on and off a plane a couple of times, but it wasn't the case. So the wheels, yeah, they're fine, whether you're pushing it flat or whether you're dragging it like that, and it's been up and down 1 or 2 curbs as well. My wife thought this colour was quite nice. Now she's finding that it's not quite as nice, simply because it's picked up a lot of scuff marks. It does mark very easily. I don't know if you can see clearly, but I'll try and zoom in on that later. But a lot of scuff marks everywhere, but the actual case itself is perfectly fine, it's intact. Now I'm going to open it up and give you my opinion of the inside. Now I'm desperately trying to remember which one I want to open first, and I'll explain why in a second. So I'm going to pull the zips back there and I'm going to have a little peek inside. Not because I'm worried about what's going to jump out. Mind you, you never know what she's put in here. No, I want to make sure it's that way. So the reason I want to open it that way is because this particular part here has got this lovely zip compartment. This side hasn't. It's got this, I'll tell you what, throw them out there, shall we? It's got this strap on, and to be honest, it'll hold something like this pair of trousers in place, but anything small, bits and pieces, some tablets here and sanitisers, she's got some creams. If you happen to open it this way first, everything falls out. my personal opinion is this would get a much higher rating from me if it had had another zip-in pouch at this side. It hasn't, so we just had to be careful with it. As with most of these type suitcases, the joint down here looks a little fragile, so I'm not saying it is, I'm saying it looks a little fragile. So when we close it up, we do so carefully, picking it up, turning it over and keeping everything in line. But this compartment, this is great. Zip that out. You've got this compartment here as well, which I'm not quite sure what she used it for, but I try not to get involved in her packing, because if I do, it's wrong. Again, when you fold it out, you've got this strap here to try and retain whatever you put inside. And as like my own suitcase, get the words out. I should point out I've only had 3 hours sleep. It's a wonder I get any words out at all. Why I'm looking a bit rugged this morning. It's got a little lip all the way around. You just make sure that you use all that and fill the corners up with your little bits and pieces, whatever your little bits and pieces are, knickers, socks, that sort of thing. And it's held very well in place by that. I quite like that. I just don't like this. And the strap is attached to the top of the lip here, so if you happen to have a part load, then that'll be there, but it won't be doing anything because it won't be touching the part load, which is down here maybe. So that would be my main criticism of this so far, is that it should have had another zip up cover there. But all in all, for what we paid for it, I'm quite happy. It's had a little bit of abuse. It's been bounced up and down 1 or 2 curbs. It's been handled by various concierge people. I don't know if I pronounced that right. I don't normally stay in hotels where they have them sort of people, but so I probably don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I've seen them bouncing it up edge of curbs, lifting it out the cars, and cars, it's like we have limousines. Now we don't have them generally speaking either. But I'm happy with the end result. It's come back in one piece. The zip has stayed in place. I don't know if that was just one of those one-off things where it burst open a little bit, or whether I'm going to blame my wife. Maybe she hadn't actually done something correct when she started to zip it. But don't tell her, because she doesn't like criticism. And I think it's quite a nice suitcase for the price. And would I recommend it? Well, so far, yes. I wouldn't give it 5 out of 5 because of the 1 or 2 little things I've mentioned. But yeah, 3.5, 4, I'll be quite happy with that. And we'll see how it goes over the next 12 months, 24 months, where we're planning to have 1 or 2 more away weeks, away days, away month would be nice. And we'll see how it goes. Should I find something untoward about it, I'll come back and add it onto this review, and it'll be there for anybody who wants to read it. Well, I'm going to pack that away. I mentioned I probably only had 3 hours sleep. My wife is desperately trying to catch up on hers and probably getting really annoyed because I'm down here waffling like usual and keeping her awake. So we're going to call it a day at that, and I'll see you next time.